We're now live. Good morning. Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. Let's try this again. Welcome to Blast It or Stash It. This is the show where we pick up the books that come out Comic Book Wednesday. We give a read to the books. Yeah, that thing. We blast the books we hate. We stash the books we like. Before we jump into what we did this weekend covering comic books, go over to Teespring. Check out some of these cool shirts like the Pocan Joe or the Blast It or Stash It or the Shut Your Funko Mouth shirt. Spoiler warnings ahead. We do talk about plot points for books, but let's go ahead and jump into Mike. What have you been doing this week? What have you been watching besides the midget porn stuff that we were talking about when I thought we were live, but we weren't?
That was you. That wasn't me.
No, don't try to push me under the bus like that. That wasn't me.
Push you to the midget porn. What have I been doing this week? I don't know. I went out to eat with that guy a couple times. Got a tattoo. Finished up Umbrella Academy. Great season. They set it up nicely for season 3, whenever that may be. Started watching The Walking Dead from season 1 again. I'm about a quarter of the way into season 2, so trying to hit all that up before September 4th when The Boys premieres. So Double S, Midwest Scotsman's in here, Samuel David, Double S. All kinds of fucking crazy kids in here.
Got the crazies in here, Dad. Of all of you.
Double S said you buy a shirt that says "Pocan it," or are you a Pocan or a Pocant? So maybe I'll work on. Maybe I'll take a screenshot of Mike holding that Pocan it shirt up, Pocan it sign up, and that'll be your shirt. Hashtag Pocan it. What about you?
The Bruce Zayas is in here.
Oh, Bruce Zayas is in here. Okay.
Hey, Bruce, I love that guy.
Joe, what have you been doing, watching, playing with?
Ooh. Well, I'm in the middle of a move, so haven't been watching a whole lot, but I'm still watching a lot of the CW Supergirl stuff. Still enjoying, maybe not the story so much at this point, just how they kind of bring in a lot of these older characters that you don't hear a whole lot about. So I'm kind of enjoying that much of it, because then I'm like, oh, honey, I know that's, Amazing Adventures, blah, blah, blah. Whatever the case may be. What does it say? Blasted fact. Dave sweats tastes like apples. Jesus Christ. Oh, we're going to find out now. Between that and just regular everyday work, I've been working on my little side project for my channel, getting a bunch of stuff together for that. So hopefully we'll kind of add a little flavor to it and maybe get stuff out to the community that they can kind of church and hold and brag about.
Oh, Paul's got to go. That's because Paul has no power, or I think he got a generator finally.
Yeah, he's got the whole thing. That poor guy can't take a break. I love Paul, but man, I don't know what he's done in a past life, but the whole tornado thing. If you don't know, a tornado hit down near his area, and they're out of power right now. And they just got a generator today, so they're up and running on limited power. So definitely put that in your prayers to take care of good old Paul there and his family. Last year, they hit devastating. It's just a nonstop cycle for these guys. I hope and I pray that y'all going to break at least 1 year where you can kind of sail through. But if you need anything, brother, let us know.
I saw a shirt that said the year 2020 was like a 5-star review, and it said it had 1 star. It says this year sucked. What I've been doing, I've watched all 4 of the Indiana Jones movies recently because my daughter, we went out last Sunday. We took the canoe out to the lake, went out there and started messing around. We're driving back from the lake, and my daughter's like, hey, can we watch that treasure hunter guy? Starts with a J. And I'm like, what? Indiana Jones? And she's like, yeah, Indiana Jones. I'm like, yeah, we can watch Indiana Jones. So we'll end up watching all 4 over the past few days.
Nice.
I started watching Project Power on Netflix today. Have you guys seen the trailer for that?
No, what
is that with who's in that?
Jamie Foxx and Gordon Joseph Levitt. Right? Is that his name?
I think so. Yeah, is it good?
I watched about halfway through it before I jumped to live here. It's actually pretty good. I can't wait to watch the rest of it. Basically the premise is there's this new drug on the street. You take it, and for 5 minutes you get superpowers based on, I guess, maybe like your DNA or whatever like that. But it ended up jacking people up bad. Like, people have been taking it for a long time. There's, a guy catches on fire, half his face is all melted because he's been ODing and stuff. So it's interesting. It has a twist in it. I haven't caught that twist yet.
What platform is this on?
Netflix. It's a Netflix original movie.
Oh, I'll have to check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, it got released today. So.
It's better than that fairy tale story with Will Smith, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good.
So like Gordon Joseph Levitt, he actually plays a police officer who actually takes this drug. Because even though he's supposed to be enforcing the law, he needs to have an edge in order to try to compete with these criminals out there. So he's it got released today, Bruce. Yeah, it's on Netflix. I was watching part of it. But yeah, so far it's been pretty good. I'm gonna finish watching it tonight after the show here, and looks damn good. Anything else? I don't think so. I joined a new committee. I joined our historical society here locally, which I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But
dude, here's the trick to historical societies: meet all the local blacksmiths and work a deal with them. You'll be the hero.
I don't know if we have any local blacksmiths.
You do.
Maybe.
You live out in the woods. There's somebody.
I don't live out in the woods. It's not like I live out in the freaking podunks. But we kind of do. kind of do a little bit. Well, let's go to jump into the books for this week. Who wants to start us off? Joe, Mike, who?
Not me.
Not Mike. So that means Joe.
I was going to pour a beer. Jeez. So let me go ahead and get something I'm going to blast. Oh, and this is going to be a surprise to people. Let me cause a little bit of an uproar on this one. Let's find out. I'm blasting right up off the bat. Batman Detective Comics. I'm blasting it. Number 1025. Did not enjoy this story. And I'll be honest with you, I don't like Batwoman as a character. I think it's slightly redundant. I don't see any purpose for it whatsoever. I hated the show to the point where it almost made me mad. And then you just got that same character in here. It's like, regardless if Batman is a man or a woman, you don't take a character from the golden age and make it ride bitch. Like a little bit of respect towards the character, that'd be great. But if you don't know, in this one, Batman needs to run and go to Wayne Enterprises because the Joker's taken everything over. We've been kind of following this story. He's got all Bruce Wayne's money and everything. So they need to go there and they need to knock out this glorified 3D printer that's 3D printing drones, riding drones, flying drones, the whole 9 yards. And then you need to go take it out. And for some random reason, some writer was like, hey, let's throw Batwoman in there because, she's relevant. There's a failed TV show after her. Let's see if we can revive this. And the entire time it's no, I'm woman and I'm going to do it this way. And it's just constant stabs. And I was just like, man, that's just annoying. It just got to the point where I get a couple of jokes. But when it's just constant, it's like, no, you're not joking anymore. You're just being a dick. And that's all this seemed like to me. Even the Joker line in this was kind of, at best, okay. Like, I think we've been calling them whiskey dick issues. Mm-hmm. This is a margarita dick. Like, it's weak. I didn't much enjoy it, so I'm blasting it.
What about you, Mike? What did you think of Detective Comics?
This is my whiskey dick issue. Um, so yeah, wasn't Batman all jacked up on Punchline's toxins?
Right. And the thing this issue
Joey's dead.
Joey's he might be bouncing out of here right now. Go ahead there, Mike.
I thought Batman was still kind of woozy and fucked up over Punchline's toxic juice or whatever. So he shows up and they hand ahead to Wayne Enterprises, and all of a sudden he has this huge ass tank. I'm gonna call it the big ass tank, aka Bat for short. Ha! See what I did there? Big ass tank, Bat. But they end up curing Lucius, and I don't know. It was just a filler issue for the Joker War, I guess. And I do like Batwoman though. I love her costume, the red and black. So, but yeah, just Are you back, Joe?
Yeah, I think he's back. Oh no.
Nope.
That's when I thought he was back. He left. Yeah, I read Batwoman 1020. Oh, I'm sorry, Detective Comics. And yeah, it's the same thing. When they said that Batman had to ride on the back of the backseat of the bike, I never have heard it called that before. So I actually had to look that up. I didn't know.
Oh, what do you call it?
bitch. Right?
No, well, yeah, you call it riding bitch, and I think that's everybody calls it riding bitch. Pillon?
Yeah, I've never heard that either.
Yeah, I never have heard it called that before either. It's riding bitch, but I didn't want to say that. I guess maybe in the comics. Yeah, unfortunately, this is too heavy of a Batwoman issue. It needs to be more. I understand Detective Comics, and it kind of should wrap up the whole Bat family maybe in there, not just a Batman title. I get that. But still, it was entirely too much Batwoman for me. And it just not fitting in with the timeline very much, like Mike was saying, with the whole him supposed to be drugged by the toxin, hearing Alfred's voice. None of that is at all in this story. And I think it kind of needs to be consistent if you're going to be a tie-in story. So, unfortunately, this is a blast for me, too. This is a Whiskey Dick. So, a round of Whiskey Dicks. If we go to the bar in Baltimore, we're gonna yell that. One round of Whiskey Dicks.
No, we will not. No.
Yeah, you go ahead and do that.
You gotta do that in Baltimore.
Is there some kind of code, like a hanky in your back pocket? It symbolizes that you're looking for Whiskey Dick, or
what?
Dude, there's a place in Baltimore we can drop you off if you want to experiment.
There's a place down here. I mean, shit.
Okay, Mike.
Let's go ahead, and since I'm on the roll from last week, I'll do Delta Dogs number 3. I talked about these guys last week, like I said. Where is my shit? Where's my shit?
I don't know where your shit is.
Real quick, while he looks that up, let me give a little background on it. Delta Dogs is a local comic book that's produced here in the local area by a very good friend of ours. Mikey's just getting into season 1 of it. He's almost done. They're launching season 2. There's been a little bit of delay. Great GoFundMe that went well over it. So if you can get your hands on Delta Dogs, I'm going to tell you right now, you are going to like this story.
Yeah, and this one actually takes place in Norfolk, where Dave is flying into.
Nothing.
Norfolk.
Nothing.
2 weeks have passed since the team got their powers, and they're in the woods trying to control them, and they confess to their aunt that something else happened on that night, not just the explosion of the Green Man. That a flock of government soldiers, led by this scientist named Dr. Zink, approached them and wanted to take them away, and they fled, and he seemed to know what was going on with them, and it pretty much ends there. So I'm really excited to read issue number 4, and we'll review that next week. But if you guys could get a hold of some Delta Dogs, check it out. Some good stuff, good art, good writing. Yeah, man. And if
Now, I actually spoke with the writer. He's going to be at the Comic-Con we're going to Sunday, and he said he really likes the way he does his dialogue, but he's actually looking to perfect it in the next season. Like that's how dedicated this guy is. He actually focuses on the way people speak. And down here in this area where Norfolk is, which is actually how we pronounce it, he's very particular about catching the way people speak and interact. So it's actually and it shows through the book very, and
Definitely.
he just wanted to clean up details. I thought that was very smart of him. I love that guy. He's one of my favorite people.
Real quick, Mike, why don't you talk about what people are maybe seeing on your hand there?
Do I have jizz on my hands again?
Yeah, it looks like you might have a target there somewhere.
No, so I got this tattoo. It's a little red right now, and it hasn't faded yet, but this is your traditional bosun mate naval tattoo. I should have got it a long time ago, but better late than never.
And why on that hand?
Because I was stationed on the East Coast, so
Thought we just give a little military history here on tradition and stuff.
go look it up. One of the oldest jobs in the Navy. Check it out.
Is seaman?
Bosun mate.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I had to go there. I've thank you for your service, Mike. I never did in service, but I appreciate you.
You're going to do your service when you get here.
Okay, let's move on. Dark Knight's Death Metal #3. There were a shit ton of covers for it, just like there is every single week. They have the 1 in 25. They have this was like the big cover. One of the big covers this week too was this first Robin Knight or King Robin on the cover.
King Robin sucks. It's all about the clown killer.
Joe got the 1 in 25, the metal variant, and Mike got the looks like the Art Germ variant. So yeah, definitely a lot of covers for this, a lot of spec on this King Robin character. But the story itself, it had some great parts in here, I thought. The whole thing when they're going to inspect that ship after it's been down, they're like, oh, there's a whole bunch of dead people and they don't count, and then oh God.
Jonah Hex.
Jonah Hex, that's right. And he said, dead people do count. In fact, I'm going to show you I can count backwards. 3, 2, 1. I thought that was badass. So I love that scene. He blows the ship up. And then they're going to go save Superman, who is on this permanent elliptical machine. Apparently, he's doing a lot of cardio these days. And they go to save him from the Batman who's turned into Darkseid. Was that a first print, Mike, or is that second print?
This first print. This is the one I got from eBay.
Oh, really?
Come on, baby. You know how we roll. We're true comic book people. We got first prints up in this bitch.
I don't even know if the second print's out yet, even. What'd you have to pay for that online?
20.
So they're going to go save Superman because they need him on his team, and they need to defeat the Darkseid Batman character, which they do. Some of it was kind of cheesy, though, too, when Darkseid has that gun. He says, I've improved it. No longer will it shoot you back in time. It'll totally erase you from everybody's memory. And he shoots Batman with it, but Batman's like, oh, nope, I was prepared. Why aren't you dead? Oh, well, I was prepared. I came prepared. Like, dude, do you have shark repellent or something on your belt?
Batman, he's always got the contingency. That's kind of the running joke in this book. But yeah, I get what you're saying. It was kind of cheap.
Yeah, the King Robin character is kind of badass, though. He comes to that portal, talking to the old Flash just over that time about, oh, yeah, on my belt, I have some way to kill everybody. In fact, I have your mom. It's great. I dug her up and essentially melted her body and put it in this pouch here. That was kind of sick and twisted. But overall, it's a pretty good story. I'm still digging it. We got a lot more characters coming back there getting saved. And, of course, then we get a Cool Hand Luke reference in here with Starro, which I thought was really great. If you ever seen a movie Cool Hand Luke, definitely go back and see it. It's a movie from the 60s with Paul Newman. We're breaking it up here, boss. I love that part. He's beating the little rocks with a hammer. But overall, it's a stash. I think it's a fun story, better than the other Dark Knights Metal stuff, but definitely stash for me. What about you, Joe?
So yeah, I really enjoy this, and I think I enjoy it because one, it is kind of ridiculous to some degree, right? But we're in another dimension, so you get to play things, but they always made the villains be super villainous, and I think that's my attraction to it. I also like the subtle hints of everything DC lore in it, like the treadmill, right? That's the Flash treadmill that he's running on. And then the machine is the Mr. Miracle machine from the Mr. Miracle. And that's why Mr. Miracle is tied up. So you get these little subtle hints. It's just there for comic book people that know comic books. Even the characters that are kind of randomly in the background. But then you get this really cool twist where the villains are been kind of updated or slightly different, but you still know that they're villainous. And honestly, I'm one of those guys. I think the villain makes the story because the hero's arc is very simple. But I do like this DC dark stuff. I even like it more so with Lobo, character I don't have a whole lot of connection to. Be honest, I know vaguely of him. I've read a couple of comic books with him in it, but I'm not a huge Lobo follower by any means. But in the dimension, we see that he went there to the fifth dimension and was lighting everything up. Interesting thing about the fifth dimension, does anybody know who lives in the fifth dimension? Anybody?
New Gods?
Nope. Better.
Who?
DC most popular villain, Mr. Mixiplex.
Oh, does he really?
He's from the fifth dimension. So I'm kind of wondering what's in the box that Lex Luthor, who we found out at the end, who's been...
I know what's in there.
Huh?
I know what's in there.
What's in there, buddy?
So DC is collapsing and Marvel just bought them out. And what's inside the box is an Infinity Gem.
You think so?
Probably not, but...
Probably not. I'm going to go with Mr. Mixiplex on this one. And the reason why I say it is because all the characters and everything in there just kind of seem like he knows. Now, if you don't know Lex Luthor, if you didn't read any of the Perpetua story, Perpetua was kind of the one that kind of kicked this whole dark metal thing off. It was a story that kind of included into it. So there is some there, but she kind of shrugged off Lex Luthor. And if you know anything about Lex Luthor, he's got a huge ego and he ain't doing that shit. So now he wants some revenge, so he hires Lobo to go get this MacGuffin. We don't know what the MacGuffin is. My speculation is that it's a Mixiplex. And I hope that it is because it would fit into all this kind of ridiculousness that's going on too. I hope. Oh, also Jarro was in it. Again, another character I'm not overly interested in. But we found out that he's, again, the most powerful thing ever, and he thinks Superman's his daddy.
Batman's his dad.
Oh, yeah, Batman's his dad, and even called him daddy in it. Don't really focus too much on that character. I would rather see Mixiplex than this glorified
Starro?
starfish, Jarro.
Starro. Isn't it Starro?
Jarro. I thought Starro was the big one and Jarro was the small one.
Maybe.
I don't know. If you go in the chat, let us know,
the one with the big tits.
What was that, Mike?
Nothing.
Uh-huh.
You were saying, go ahead.
Charo.
What do you think of Death Metal #3, Mike?
I liked it. You guys said enough about it. I liked Harley had some funny parts in this, and I liked the fact she was using Swamp Thing for her mallet. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
That was funny. Yeah, good point. And that's the great thing about this book. It has so much stuff going on that, you know, anybody can find a part in it and be able to speak to it. So we confirm that this is a stash for all of us?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's a complete stash.
We need to let our friends over at Rogue City Comics, a comic book store over in Oregon.
No, that this is the stash of the week.
No, it's not.
That's a stash, but we can all agree on it.
Yeah, it's definitely a stash. I think it'd be probably, having some of the independent ones. If we all agreed on there, that those are the ones they need to sell because these guys sell these Batman or this book sell easily. Back to you, Joe, with your next book.
Ooh, let's move over. Let's go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room. I'll bring it up.
Oh, by the way, Samuel David said Jaro. So you were right. Jaro must be.
I thought so. Starro was the Silver Age big one, and I
Yeah.
believe this is a piece of him or child of him or whatever. But yeah, I know it was a weird story. Let's go ahead and talk about this. I know y'all read it, right? Let's see if we're all in agreement on this one. So, just to catch you up real quick, if you're behind, Eddie Brock, Venom, Virus, and Dylan are in an alternate universe. I want to say it's the Ultimates universe, but I'm not 100% correct. Regardless, in this issue, we find out that it is
Rogue City Comics is in here right there saying stash of the week.
Here he is. What's going on, boss? I think you're going to find this one to be all of our stashes of the week because this is definitely mine. I enjoyed it. This was crazy for me. First off, everything's Venomized in this universe, which was awesome. Well, not everything, but the majority of everything is. The ruling party is. And I really enjoyed that. We get to see Venomized Avengers, and we've seen it before, mostly in covers and side stories, but an entire team at the same time. I don't know if that's ever happened, but I'll be honest with you, the Funko Pops pretty much predicted that as far as I'm concerned, because it was badass. So much happened in the story. The big battle between Virus and Eddie Brock kind of happened in this, but we still don't know who Eddie Brock is or who Virus is. I'm sorry, who Virus is. There was a little bit of a stab of who is Virus. We've all been asking this, and this Null character called Codex in this particular universe goes, yeah, I don't know who you are. I thought that was a little bit of a stab of comic book speculation, and I enjoyed that. Or at least that's how I'm going to view it. We also see Annie. If you don't know who Annie is the mother of Dylan and the main squeeze of Eddie Brock at one point, because that's how Dylan was made. If you don't know how that works, you may want to take a sex ed call.
Catch the extra show on how that works on our podcast. Go give this story on Birds and Bees and how that works.
But I really liked this. I'm intrigued, and this is what makes a great comic book. I'm intrigued to find out who Virus is. I'll keep picking up the issues to figure out who Virus is. Adding in a character that's kind of irrelevant, but you kind of make them force them into this, but you do it in a smooth manner. I thought that was handled very well. I like having Venom off his game a little bit. I like adding something that we can all kind of understand, but the characters don't. And we can be like, oh, yeah, we understand this because it's a hive mind. You're a symbiote, but it's just a different universe, different symbiote. So I like the perspective of this book, and just smart Kate's. And I'm telling you, that cat's got it. And this is my stash of the week.
What about you, Mike? You were shaking your head like you didn't like it.
Not really.
Not really. Why didn't you like it?
First off, the fucking art sucks. Holy crow.
Holy crow. One of the guys who curses the most on the show, and he goes, well, golly gee winkers.
Golly gee winkers.
No, I didn't say that, sir. Basically, what Marvel's doing here is, oh, look what they're doing in Death Metal. Let's do it in Venom. Because basically, this is the same shit. You got the Batman Who Laughs, and you got fucking, what is his name now? Codex. Everything's, with the Batman Who Laughs, everything's got Batman bullshit on it, and this one everything's got everything's Venomized, which they have done before. There's been a Venomized Captain America and all that bullshit. But yeah, I just feel like it's the same exact thing as Death Metal. Yeah, that's how I feel. So I like it because it's Venom, but I'm gonna blast this one.
I don't see the string on him.
The what?
I don't see the string.
What string?
On Kotex. I don't see it.
Kotex?
Yeah.
That's the thing in the Empire storyline going on right now.
Is it Kotex?
The Kotex, the plant people.
Oh, okay. This is a stash for me. You talked about how you didn't like the art. You know, Venom's talking about how he can't get focused in this world. He doesn't know where he is, can't get focused. And I think the art and the panel layout conveys that completely. And that's why I'm reading the story. I'm like, dude, it's hard for me to get a grasp on everything. It's so much going on. The layout's so funky. And I think that tells the story a lot too of how confused Venom is in this world during that whole fight scene. And then the panel system kind of slows down a little bit more toward the end when the Codex comes into play. But definitely this is a stash for me. This is good. I do like the whole Venomized Avengers there with Captain America. You know how he seems squinting his eyes, like, you know, all pissed off. But overall, this is a great book. I'm really, really digging this. This is definitely a stash for me as well.
I'll tell you what, all those Venomized pops over the next couple of issues, I promise you we'll see more relation to those pops and these characters. Because somebody's drawing inspiration from this because it's just too interesting.
They've already done all these Venomized characters already, though.
Yeah, I know they have, but I don't think they've done them in this kind of situation, I think is the best way to put it. Would that be fair?
No, this book sucks.
Okay. All right, Mike.
Well, do you want to talk about a book you like, Mike?
We'll do my pick of the week.
Okay, let's talk about your pick of the week.
Is your comic shop still on here?
I don't know. They haven't commented in a while.
You have a special Spectacular Spider Grandpa's pick of the week. I don't associate with these guys anymore. It's my SOW. What is she talking about?
What?
In the chat.
Oh, she's asking. Hey guys, this is
stash of the week.
Yeah. Speaking Codex, did anyone read Big Girls? It's my SOW stash
of the week. Now I feel a little embarrassed. I thought it was Steve watching, it's Jamie watching, and I was talking about bad stuff. Sorry, Jamie.
You should hear him when we're off air.
Yeah, I know. That's different. That's off air. Go on, Mike. Why are you talking about your stash of the week?
All right, Darth Vader number 4.
That's a lovely cover.
Stash of the week. I know, isn't it sad? So in last issue, they set a trap for Vader. It worked, and Vader is swallowed whole by one of those Sando aqua monsters, which you saw in episode 1, the big fish. Vader's little droid informs him that there are no records ever of one being killed by a human. Vader slices right through his belly and fucking falls out. They make it to Theed, the capital city of Naboo, and ends up in another trap. There's a rogue group called the Amidalans. Look like a bunch of Naboo Gungan. There's some whatever Admiral Akbar is. I can't fucking think of it right now, but he kills them all. Fucking, I've never seen this happen before, but he actually force chokes a whole group of them. He's got like 10 of them up in the air and force chokes them. He actually makes it to the tomb of Amidala, opens it, and the issue ends. Again, this was great. I love what they're doing with Vader, how brutal they're making him. But good stuff. I don't know why you guys aren't reading this Darth Vader shit, but you need to jump on.
I think you just explained it.
But didn't the first issue end the same way? Like you open a chamber to where a secret lies with her, and that's just how the book's continuing to go on? And that was ending like, oh, a secret chamber. Oh. Don't you remember that?
I don't remember the first issue.
Oh. Okay. Joe, did you read Darth Vader? I'm guessing not.
No.
After that comment. Okay, I'm going to talk about.
Did you read? Well, somebody asked about the Big Girls book. Did anybody? Let's go ahead and entertain that. The chat wants to know: did we read Big Girls? Did anybody read Big Girls?
No, I did not.
I haven't. I haven't read it yet.
I saw the premise of it, and it just did not intrigue me. And although here I'm one to always pick up a lot of number ones and to read them for the show, but unfortunately, I did not pick that up.
My LCS did not have it, unfortunately, because I was on the lookout for it. Because again, I'll give anything a shot. I do remember vaguely a comic book called Big Girls back in the time. I think I sold it a while ago. It was issues 1, 2, and 3. I don't really remember it. Mike has it. So while we talk about a comic book, he's going to read through it real fast. Go.
Yeah, I don't work that way.
I'm gonna talk about Seven Secrets #1 by Boom Studios. This is I don't know what variant this is. I don't know if it's a 1 per store. I don't know what it is. It's the not Jim Lee. It's the Lee Inuk variant. It's like the FOC variant or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, go ahead.
So what this story is basically is a secret society, and they have 7 secrets that they're supposed to
you know, I reviewed this last week, right?
Did you review this last week?
Yeah.
It came out this week, I thought.
It did, but I got the preview, or I got the advanced copy for 1 per stores last week. I liked it. Go ahead. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but
I'd
go it off because I got connections.
Yeah, so basically in this story, they have to keep these 7 secrets or agents. 2 of the agents, they end up falling in love and end up when they getting pregnant. And so they have this choice to make, either give up the baby or give up essentially their position within this society. And they're such good soldiers, they don't want to give up and essentially forego their duties inside the society, so they give up their kid. It's all basically the kid kind of talking back in the past. And that's what he's telling about his parents and how they were. So I'm assuming the next issue is probably going to be hopefully more about where he's going with this 7 secrets, because he talks about having secrets. Overall, this is a great story, I thought. It ends rather abruptly. I like how the husband, Surrogate, is that how you pronounce his name? Surrogate. He's protecting his wife, or I guess girlfriend, I'm not sure if they're married, to get out of the situation. He's supposed to be falling behind her, and she calls him on the phone. You coming? You making it? And he just says, "I have some pretty sizable holes in me." So you kind of know that he's kind of screwed at that particular point. I won't give away the total ending of this issue, but overall, I thought it was a great story, great premise. The sacrifice they have to make in order to stay in here or raise their child. And I think it was overall great. Definitely a stash for me. I'll pick it up issue 2 on that. What about you, Mike? Do you read 7 Secrets?
No, but I have a secret for you.
I know you do. Don't say it here. Then it won't be a secret anymore. You can whisper it, the sweet nothings in my ear when I come to Baltimore.
So yeah, I did read that. Like I said, I slightly reviewed it last week. I really liked it. Yes, it is a comic book trope, society, different secrets. Speculation, taking steps more or whatever. We do know that age of legend in there.
This sounds like Mike in the old days.
I also liked about it. I loved how much heart was put into this story. I know that's weird coming from me because I'm kind of a coffee kind of guy. But I'll be honest, it kind of tore me up when Surrogate was like, I've always loved my son. Let him know I loved him and give him up to do my, and I was, ooh, I don't care how big you are. I don't care how bad you are. That kind of hits you right there in the heart. And I really liked this story, even though it's kind of tropey. Motherfucker, I just started. But yeah, good story, classic comic book story. I don't think it's going to be as predictable. And also, there was a variant that was done that kind of said thank you to Simple Man's Comics. If you don't know Simple Man Comics, he's a new YouTuber. They do a lot of comic book reviews, speculation. They mostly deal on speculation side. But one of the artists that did one of the covers kind of did a thank you homage to them as well. They did a big thing on Facebook and everything. So again, just another comic book that's connected to the comic book community. So I'll support that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, your wife must be, because you're moving, Joe. So your wife must be saying, "Hey, give us a lower tier internet until we get moved, and then we can give us back the good stuff."
Is it still breaking up?
Yeah. The whole time you were talking about Seven Secrets, it was just all you're just mumble. You know, I don't
That's
care how
why I
big
held
you
up
are.
the sign.
Yeah.
Oh, I'll reset while you talk about a comic book.
Well, it's your turn.
Oh.
We'll go with Mike.
Now.
Let's do a quick one real quick.
Okay.
Quickly. This actually came out last week or the week before. This is the original screenplay for Alien, converted into a comic book. I'm a big Alien fan. I like it. The characters are different, and of course, there's no Ripley in it. I forgot who did the original screenplay. I wrote it down. Dan O'Brien did the original screenplay, and it was titled Star Beast. So, Star Beast. But this goes all the way. I'm trying to compare it to the movie. If you've seen Alien, goes all the way to they make it to the derelict ship, and they go inside to investigate, and they find the eggs, and it just ends. You guys know, or if you've seen the movie, you know what happens. But yeah, so Stash, I'll pick up issue number 2 because I want to see how it differs from the actual movie. So,
isn't it like a director's cut to the movie? Is that what it's supposed to be?
It's the original screenplay.
Okay.
So it's what the guy wrote, before it was, before what's his name converted it into his stuff.
Oh, okay.
I can't think of his name right now. God, I'm so tired.
Is it James Cameron? Didn't James Cameron do that? Or no? Or Stephen, who did that?
God damn it.
Ridley Scott.
Woo!
Yeah, I have the pretty cool box set of Aliens Blu-ray.
Jamie could be part of the show.
What's she saying?
Yeah, they're heading out. They're just closing the shop down now, and they're going to grab some dinner. They'll catch the rest of us awesomeness in the morning. Hey, you guys are awesome.
Okay, we got somebody in here chatting up about the Comic Core. They got their thing going on over there. Definitely go check them out once you're done here, though. What about you, Joe? What do you got going on? Your next book.
Oh, my next book. I'm sorry. Let's talk about probably the better Empire read. So I've been reading some of the Empire. I've been kind of in and out of the various tie-ins, but there's one tie-in that I'm still kind of stuck to. And I was a little critical on it on my own channel. And some people got a little upset. People have sensitivities. So let's man up, put our big boy pants on. We're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about Captain America Empire. So,
hey, where'd you get that book from?
Huh?
Where'd you get that book from?
Comic book store. Where do you get your comic books from? So Captain America, I literally had to dump, and I never thought I would ever say this in my life. I had to dump Captain America comic book when I got on board because I absolutely hated the direction, hated the character, hated the dialogue, hated the art, and that just kind of tore me up. I'm a huge Captain America fan. I like America. And this kind of picked it back up for me, and it gave us what we expect from a Captain America story. We got great action. We got team play in it, leadership happening, and then we get a moral message in it. And this is what I really love about comic books because it's starting to get more and more rare to get this kind of story inside of this. In this, we kind of get this there's a term for it, and I took a note on it, and I'm not on the right page. So let me go to the right page. There's a thing called political persuasion. It's basically negotiations at the end of the day. And what we get in here is, if you don't know, we have a Kokoa or Kokote. We have a Kokote, Kotex, or whatever we have the plant people. We'll just call them vegetarians. We have a vegetarian that has infiltrated a major military leader, and he's got to go to NATO. And then what we see some of the worst pettiness that you could ever get from people. Hey, if you want troops to come help you, you got to lift these sanctions. Hey, if you do this, and all these things we've supposedly done around the world and back and forth. The truth is, at the end of the day, that's very easy to read over. In actuality, it's legit. It doesn't matter what organization you join or whatever the case may be. If politics or committees are involved, you generally see this stuff because it's considered negotiations. Truth is, it's just pettiness at this point because there's a global threat. And I really like the villain in this one because he straight up told everybody, you're just weak and petty. And I love that. I love the busting out of just red tape for no red tape. It was beautiful. And then we also got the new Howling Commandos. Very diverse group, which represents our military, which I really liked. In there getting busy, and then we got Captain America just doing what Captain America does, leading, inspiring, and motivating. And I really liked this. Really lifted my spirits. It just told me that somebody can write a good Captain America story without it sounding like the same thing over and over again. Because even this, as time grows, things change. I get that. But there's just some things that don't. Like, don't be a coward. Don't nitpick. Don't see every possible bad thing as an opportunity for you. These are basic things we should all be able to agree on. And this comic book kind of brought that to light. And this is why I read comic books. I absolutely enjoyed it. Wasn't my stash of the week because I'm still holding off on the story. I still have my reservations about some of the stuff in it. But regardless, I enjoyed this. It's smart writing, and somebody gets it.
You read Captain America, Mike?
Yes,
no, I gave my Captain America to Joey.
Oh, is that why you said that's where you got it? Oh,
he got it for me.
I got it now. Mike, what about you? What do you got going on next? What do you got going over there? In your sweetness.
Unfortunately, I picked up another issue of Ghost Spider, number 9, in high hopes that Marvel will fucking do something with this character.
Nope.
They promised to
Nope.
I love Spider-Gwen, but please fucking God. I think this is ending soon, this series, and we'll go on to volume number 362. We were promised Gwenom in this issue. It does appear for like a couple pages. I don't know. Blast. This is like a triple blast. This is my worst pick of the week.
Wow. I'm going to talk about Immortal Hulk number 36. This book was waning.
You weren't picking that up anymore.
No, I ordered the few. You know, like I said, when I said that, I already ordered the next couple issues. Like I said, I have a thing about if I order the books, I buy them. Even though I may not like it, I've already ordered them. I've committed to buy them. I'll buy them. I'm actually kind of glad. This kind of goes back to the whole horror theme of Hulk, which I really, really dig. There's no more of this thing with the political stuff with, you know, trying to get social media to go against the Hulk and blah, blah, blah. I mean, there's still maybe a little bit of that in here, but Joe Bennett is back on the art on this too. Oh, dude, I love his art. He does a great horror type art in this. And, you know, we have the Gamma flight coming in, trying to stop Hulk. And we got Crusher Creel getting his arm ripped off because he hurt Hulk friend. Nobody hurt Hulk friend. You know, Hulk hurt you back. So this is good. It went back to its roots where it started, where I dug it. and I'm glad. So this is definitely a stash again for me. So I'm gonna continue to pick it up now. So that's it, stash for me. What about you, Joe? You said no? Yes?
I'm 50-50. It's a whiskey dick issue for me.
Oh,
surprise ending. Sorry. Look, I've never been a fan of Gamma Flight. Basically, that's just Alpha Flight minus the majority of the members, and then you shove them into space. That's all Gamma Flight is. I don't particularly like those characters. There's no depth to them. They're just there. Whatever. The whole, hey, it's a big misunderstanding situation. I don't find that particularly interesting. However, I will say the only thing that saved this was the fact that the guy in the tube. The guy in the tube saved it, because for a while there, we thought it was a Rick Ross. Come to find out it wasn't a Rick Ross. It was like, who's this guy in the tube? And it was kind of shoved in the background, and everybody, you saw it in panels from previous ones. Whenever they were talking in that lab, there's that guy in the tube. And we were just made to kind of forget about it with everything else going on. And then all of a sudden we get our big shocker where it wakes up and grabs somebody. And I was like, okay. Oh, you know what? But who's the guy in the tube? All right, I get it. As far as Gamma Flight goes, they're basically beating up on an overgrown child at this point, and nobody thinks it. And they think that's okay. It's I'm not sure which Hulk it is, original Hulk or whatever you want to call this particular Hulk. I've always called it Baby Hulk. It talks like a baby. It acts like a baby. It acts like a child. It throws temper tantrums, the whole 9 yards. I think they tried calling it Rage Hulk, but the truth is, it's just Temper Tantrum Hulk, and that one's just annoying to me. Like, it's just annoying to me. It talks like a baby. It acts like a child. I don't find that interesting, especially when a group of heroes come in and just beat up on it. Because now I just feel bad, right? Like you can't even be okay with that. And then you got people running around trying to figure it out. It's a trope. It's just a MacGuffin to push a plot. That I'm not interested in. But at the ending, I was like, "Oh crap! The guy in the tube. We all forgot about the guy in the tube. Who's the guy in the tube?
Who's the guy in the tube? That's the question of the week. Hashtag who's the guy?
No. The question of the week is, what's the tube in the guy?
What's the tube in the guy? That's a whole nother question.
That's a whole nother.
You don't want to go down.
Whole nother show, buddy.
We will add that into the podcast on the Birds and the Bees with Joe. So that was me. What about you, Joe? We got time to go one more round before we go in lightning. What do you want to talk about, Joe?
So I don't want this to get lost in lightning, because everything else is pretty easy to talk about. But I'm going to talk about something that's not relatively new, and it's just my ignorance, apparently. I want to talk about this Hillbilly book. I absolutely love this. I've never read Hillbilly before. And when I read this and I listened to the dialect to it, it's very Appalachian, East Coast Appalachian. The mannerisms, the folklore behind it, it's all. And then there's this great moral message in it that sometimes you just got to challenge assumptions. And in this particular one, we have a village that picks a random child, because it's a virgin, and feeds it to a dragon or worm, whatever you want to call it. And this little girl gets all upset because they just took her friend away to go get eaten. So she goes and finds our hero, which is, the tear-stained guy. I like his attitude. I like this. Not a lot of action in this one. I don't know how Hillbilly normally reads, so you're going to have to help me out with that one. But he kind of goes on this journey. He kind of takes, the most common sense answer to it, which in our area where I am, it used to be more rural than it is now. We generally called it redneck logic. Simplest answer is generally the best answer. So he's like, all right, dragon, why are you eating the kids? I'm about to cut you up. And the dragon's like, whoa, Slick. First off, I'm a dragon. If you put something in front of me that has flesh, I'm going to eat it. And I was like, that actually
like
makes
me.
sense. Right. But then he's like, but I never asked people to do this. As a matter of fact, the last thing they sent up here, I got to sit right here, and there's a little girl. So they meet up. So then we find out that there's this possum And again, it's comic book, so you got to work with it. But there's this outside influence, we'll say, because that's really what it is, that convinced everybody that this dragon needs to be fed because this entire village, when they set up the village, burned its entire family inside of a tree. The simplest answer would have been for them just to go figure out, why do we need to feed the dragon? So I really like the moral behind the story. Challenge assumptions. Don't use middlemen. And use just basic common logic to find out truth. And I thought it was told in a very, very good way. So this is I need to go find more of this, because if there's some action in this with the artwork and everything, man, I'll be talking about this forever. This was smart. I loved it.
Yeah, if you have been reading Hillbilly, it is a lot like that. There's kind of like a moral to the story. There's a lot of folklore in there. There is some action. I don't think it's like really action based. It's more based on that folklore kind of stuff and what he has to go do. And he is kind of like, in this one here, he talks about, hey, I don't want any money. I just want food. Just give me some food.
Dinner.
Yeah. That one's set way in the future, because you can see him sitting in his cabin when that girl approaches. There's a big skull next to him, right? And this is Hillbilly number 1. That's Lucille, his big grizzly that can speak. That's his best friend. The story, but so apparently that's way in the future, and she's passed on. But it's great. Eric Powell on the art, Eric Powell on the story. I don't agree with a lot of his stuff politically, but he can definitely tell a story, and he can definitely draw. I do love his art. Like if you're a fan of Goon, which you are too, I know you are, Joe. You'll definitely be a fan of Hillbilly. And so I picked up that comic book day, free comic book day issue too, and it definitely is a stash for me, because I do love me some Hillbilly. I know they're supposed to be coming out. I think it even says so in here. A new story coming out of Hillbilly.
I'm doing a free comic book day one.
Yeah.
I would imagine another volume of this is coming out. So I need to get caught up on the lore of this. And I'll tell you what, I'll be hunting that stuff down, because this is all right.
Yeah, the Twisted Deals of 12 Toe Maggie. That's the new one coming out this fall. And 3-issue miniseries. Do you? You dated her in high school, didn't you, Mike?
12 toes and 3 dicks.
What? But what is going on in Chicago?
I guess it goes down to dog toy or sex toy.
You want to play?
No, that's okay. I'm sure you got something handy right there too. You'd be willing to flip up on the screen. He's looking for one too. I can see it.
Dog toy or sex toy?
I don't know. I don't know if I want to see the bottom part of it, because.
Well, that's the show, folks. Thanks for stopping by.
I don't have any more books that I really want to talk about. I picked up Devil's Highway number 2. Really? The first one was going to be really good, and it was just about the death of some lot lizards, and they're trying to figure it out. So
for all of our fans out there, lot lizards are basically just glorified hookers that hang out at train stops or bus stops. Well, train stops too. Actually, it's still called lot lizards, but yeah, you get the point.
Yeah. So there's this weird murder that deals with lot lizards in it, and her friend trying to find her. It's ridiculous. Sorry. But Mike, do you have one last one you want to talk about before we hit lightning?
I'm just going to do lightning right now, because
do lightning right now. You start us off. I
only have 2 other books. Okay. Amazing Spider-Man number 46. This was decent. We get a little bit more of what Sin Eater's up to. He's basically turning the bad guys good, and everyone is kind of looking up to Sin Eater as a hero now. So I dug it. That's a stash.
Yeah, we're not black. No, you're not in the lightning round. We need to talk about this book.
Okay. After this, Flash, still good. Stash. Go for it. Go. Talk about Spider-Man.
Well, Dave, did you read Amazing Spider-Man?
No, I haven't read Amazing Spider-Man since issue 3 or 4.
What?
Yeah, I have not been. I asked Mike in the chat. I said, "Should I be picking this up? Should I be picking Amazing Spider-Man up?" Because I have not been.
All right, I'm going to take a second and I'm going to talk about the book. I'm going to go off form a little bit. If I talk too much,
when he's done,
Just throw up the sign. We know. So I don't think Mike gave this book enough justice. This is actually kind of interesting. I've been kind of critical of Amazing Spider-Man lately because I'm like, seriously, at this point, who's Kindred? Who's Kindred? Who's Kindred? Screwing around. Mike's got a great speculation on it. Regardless, Sin Eater has actually stepped up this story. I like this. There's a good example of what mob mentality is in this. And it's really my mob mentality. When Sin Eater comes in and shoots up the lethal force in it, or force lethal, or whatever lame name they're giving. Legion, that's it. The Lethal Legion. He literally comes into a place and guns all these villains down. The perception from the audience is, well, Sin Eater's a hero. He came in and shot everybody up. Spider-Man's like, whoa, 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 this isn't my kind of deal. You know, I shoot the webs. You know, I try not to kill people, even though he has a problem with Sin Eater. Unbeknownst to the crowd, the people aren't dead. They're just knocked out, and then they get thrown into Ravenclaw, and they're like model prisoners. But what mostly kind of like, I was like, oh my God, this is not normal. Well, 2020, so it's normal for today, is how justified everybody made Sin Eater in his actions of gunning everybody down. And look, I'm not a political guy, but I understand political views. And this is obviously a political view. It doesn't matter if you support or against certain actions by a group of people. At the end of the day, when a group of people are like, yep, that's justice, how do you fight that regardless of how hideous it is? This book kind of touched on that a little bit, and I was surprised they went with that with an Amazing Spider-Man story, where actually a known villain, probably, I'm not going to say the most sadistic, but it ranks in the top 5, is all of a sudden the hero in the book. And then Spider-Man's got to deal with the internal conflict of him being justified by the public, and then he's like, wait a second, these are against my views. How does that work out in the end? I really, really like the comic books that aren't scared to kind of skate across that stuff. And it's super easy to miss if you don't read it. I highly recommend the Sin Eater story. Definitely check it out. I think it talks a little bit beyond the comic books and more so into the panels. Very cool to check out.
That sounds...
I had to throw that in there.
It sounds very similar to maybe Punisher's first appearance, how he was like this, you know, killer, and then they turned a good guy. And did you have similarities in that?
No, I don't see the similarities in it because we know Sin Eater is a villain.
Okay.
We know Sin Eater is a villain, and we know he's doing it for malicious purposes, whereas Punisher is just an anti-hero who's doing the right thing by his own means. Which,
okay.
Thin line. Fair enough. Thin line. But in this, we know that he's working for Kindred. We know we're the omniscient beings reading the story. We know he's a villain. But it's cool as omniscient beings reading the story to see the conflict that is happening amongst the people. And I think sometimes to find out true right or wrong in something, it takes the great thing about distance, it gives perspective. And as the omniscient reader, we have a longer perspective. We get the whole view. But then it's really cool to kind of see this interaction about how all of a sudden these people, and I use the example in my own story real quick. I'm not going to talk much more on this. I gave my own example in the story. Rather, you're a person that supports a riot for justification, for whatever, to tear things up and do whatever. That's your, that's your thing. You can do that regardless of circumstances, because that's whatever. That's a side thing. Or if you're the person that drives through people blocking off a road, and you feel justified for doing that. At the end of the day, you're just looking for confirmation from a group of people. This is nothing more than mob mentality and the perception of justice at the end of the day. It's complicated. There's no right answers in this stuff. And I think this book kind of hit it a little bit. And I'm kind of curious. They can't stay on it because that would just be absolutely devastating to the story, because now somebody's political views are getting put in it, and then it will become weird. but I did enjoy kind of that perspective in the story of it. I thought that was very interesting. Again, if you haven't read it, read it, and then notice how happy everybody is that somebody just got lit up by a shotgun. It's weird.
What else you got in your lightning round, Joe?
Oh, lightning round. All right, so I'm going to rush through this quickly. I'm not going to talk a lot about this stuff. So here we go. Avengers, Empire, mostly a garbage story. Empire is falling in on itself. Its story doesn't make much sense. The Khazar and the Savage Land story in this, that part is pretty interesting, but the majority of the book is just here's an event. Well, we don't know how to end it. And then there's Empire. I went ahead and got the one per store. Man, do I want my money back, because this was absolute garbage all the way through. This is a total blast for me. I thought I gave it a fair shot. I actually stood up when other people were shooting this book down, and you guys were right. I should never have done that. Revenge of Ghost Rider pretty much ends where it started, and I really like that. It's like full circle. Basically, Ghost Rider has to save somebody's soul, right? Gets it done quick, fast, and in a hurry, deals with Mephisto a little bit, and then he goes back to being dormant, and now somebody else who has a lot of sin in them and needs vengeance picks up his skull. I like this because it keeps the character around. It's kind of like an evil genie, and I'm kind of cool with that. Actually, all genies are evil, but we're not going to get into that. Superman.
Yeah, it depends on how you rub their lamp, if they're evil or not.
Right?
The genie in Aladdin wasn't evil.
No, genies overall in mythology are evil. We're not talking about Aladdin. Superman. I don't know what's going on in this. At this point, I'm just kind of confused because Action Comics and Superman were kind of running parallel for a while. And then all of a sudden, there's this weird conclusion where I thought this was the gang of Supermen happening again. Turns out it's not that. It's just a bunch of nonsense that nobody cares about, with Xanadoth and a 16-year-old kid giving counseling to a grown man and him accepting it. I'll tell you what, I'll put this in perspective. Everybody that's over the age of 40, go get mental guidance from a 16-year-old. Good luck. Last but not least, I already read this book. I've already picked it up, but he had an extra copy, and I got there early enough, and he tempted me to get it. I believe it's the third printing. It's the copper chrome label of Negan Lives. I don't know where this is going to go speculation-wise, but again, it was there. I saw the values for it, and I was like, yeah, I'm not paying that. And he was like, no, I don't expect you to. He gave me a fair price for it, and I was like, what's one more comic book in the bin? All right, fine. And that's my haul for the week.
I only have two other books. One is Wonder Woman 760, the Middleton cover.
That's not that ugly cover, is it? No. Okay, good.
No, not that one that I sent in our chat. The cover that nobody asked for. No, not that one. And then X-Force number 11. I realized I didn't read issue 10, so I didn't read this issue. So I got to go back and pick up issue 10.
Why would you pick up X-Force?
I think X-Force and X-Men are the two that I do pick up out of the X-Men books. Why did you pick up Spider-Man?
Because it was good.
Well, there you go. Bob drunk. I think that's it. Oh my goodness, the ghosts have entered.
The power of Christ compels me. Oh.
What's going on there, Mike?
Hold on.
You know his house is haunted, right? Like legit ghosts in the house. We watched the computer just start typing randomness one day at his house. That shit is crazy.
Yeah, my house is haunted, so if you end up sleeping here,
yeah, is something gonna rub me in the middle of the night?
You're gonna get
that'd be me. I'm talking about this.
That'd be Mike. Yeah. So talk about going to Mike's house. We are taking the trip out to, at least I'm taking a trip out to Virginia. We're trying to figure out Baltimore if it's still going on and going from there. But plan on having a grand old time in Virginia. You can show me all the cool stuff there and in Baltimore. Maybe we'll see what's going on.
But Baltimore, let's roll.
If you are headed out there, definitely get a hold of us. Let us know, and we can hook up for the day. Hang out either at the con or maybe at just going around looking for comic books. Having a good old grand old time. So make sure you go check us out on all the social medias: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and you can catch the audio version of this on a podcast at anywhere you listen to your podcast. Anything else before we bounce out of here?
I love and respect all of you.
Thank you for your service. Get your Bozeman made out of here. Okay. Whether you blast it, whether you stash it, happy reading, and we'll catch you guys next week. I just got to find my thing. I was not ready for it.
Not ready at all. Professional, thanks.
Never am.